I thought it was more ideological, and I thought it was more enlightening in that, at long last, you felt like there was a Prime Minister's questions where, instead of trading rhetorical blows and political attacks, there were, of course, political attacks, but it was around policy and differences over policy and differences over ideology, actually.
And so quite straight questions, quite straight answers.
Yeah, it was almost going back to the old dividing lines of the Conservatives versus Labour, as Liz Truss talked about not wanting to put tax on business and being a low taxation party, that she was going to hold the line on that. She wasn't going to just give in to sort of public pressure for tax rises, and Keir Starmer trying to position her as someone and a party on the side of vested interests, as he would put it, whereas Labour was on the side of working people. Now, for Labour, that has been a difficult line to draw under Boris Johnson, who, of course, took the red wall and, with Brexit, did position himself as a man who was on the side of working people against the establishment, if you like. You remember the way in which he somehow quite deathly sort of knitted together two very different parts of the country, and he knitted together the kind of affluent shires of the southeast as well as parts of the traditionally working class red wall. I mean, some of the things that Keir Starmer said, he said she's claiming to break orthodoxy, but the reality is she's reheating George Osborne's failed corporation tax plans. He said the Conservative Party will be forcing working people to pay the bills. And he said the people who pay the bills will be the working people of Britain. And what is this all about? It's about this huge energy package tomorrow, in which Liz Truss will announce, we think, a freeze or a cap on wholesale prices of gas. That means that electricity and energy providers can pass that on to consumers in an effective cut to your bills. We think it could be capped at about £2,500. That's slightly up from the freeze of 1,971 back in April, but it's much cheaper than the average of £3,500 a year in October that people are expecting. But how will she pay for it? She's going to borrow.
Yeah.
So effectively, the taxpayer in the long run has to pay back government borrowing. And Keir Starmer there was very clear. He said, you're asking the taxpayer to foot that bill instead of taxing companies, a windfall tax, energy companies with these excess profits of a prediction of 170 billion in the next couple of years. Now, Jane, I know that the Conservative Party know that that is controversial to try and hold that line, but ideologically, Liz Truss genuinely believes that low taxation on business and not putting taxes up for business will grow the economy, and she is consistent. So this is going to be a clear dividing line between the parties. From Labour's perspective, I was just talking to someone, messaging them about what they thought about that. They said, we're very happy with this. It's a clear dividing line. And as far as they're concerned, British people don't like borrowing going up to fund these things. So Liz Truss clearly prepared to do something that's publicly really unpopular because it's what she believes.